Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear brother and friend, Pak-China, Chairman, Senate and Acting President of the country, Your Excellency, the Ambassador, Acting Ambassador, distinguished guests from China, my dear friends, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and greetings to the Chinese participants for their contribution and also seeking their indulgence for the fact that we have overtaxed them, made them work very long hours, but I'm sure these deliberations have been very productive and would be a stepping stone in our future march towards greater cooperation. I'm also very grateful to my brother Azaki for a very thoughtful, incisive, overall survey of what has been achievements and problems in the 60 years of relationships and the hopes and aspirations for the next 40 years. I would also thank our colleague Mr. Niyaz for doing justice to a difficult job of encasing sunshine in 20 minutes. He has done a wonderful job. And also facilitated my own job. Even at the cost of repeating, I would once again like to emphasize that Pak-China relationship, in my view, is one of the greatest achievements and a pace setter. If I were asked to recall major achievements over the last half a century of Pakistan's life, I would say that the Constitution of 1973, the nuclear capability that Pakistan has built, and past China relationships. These are three major achievements on our side. I have called this a strategic partnership, and my concept of that is that it has to be based on shared objectives. It does not mean that we agree on each and every issue. Even the multiplicity of objectives. But the shared part of it has to be very clear. Then common interests. Third, this relationship has to be structural, institutional, with framework building, not transactional. And finally, it has to have an element of continuity, the time dimension, not one-off. So all these four criteria, our relationship can be described as ideal strategic partnership. But having said so, the challenge lies in preserving it and further developing it. And in that respect, this conference, among others, we all are trying to make some contribution in that direction. Because, in my view, it is it's important to understand what are the immediate dimensions of the Chinese model. And what is distinct about Pakistan? And despite those variations and differences, what is it that holds true? even at the cost of oversimplification. And of course, talking in shorthand terms, I would say that in my view, the first major characteristic of the Chinese model is its emphasis on self-reliance. As against the dependency model, China has developed a self-reliance model. Secondly, it is non-hegemonistic, which is very important because the colonial model under which humanity has been suffering at least for the last 5 centuries, and the shadows are lingering even today. The neo-colonialism, in that context, the hegemonistic challenge has been met by a non-hegemonistic model of cooperation and interaction. In my view, the third major contribution or characteristic of the Chinese model is the blend they have been able to develop between tradition and modernity. The Confucius tradition, the 5 centuries of changing phases of monarchic arrangement, the colonial context, opium wars, Sun Yat-sen's democratic adventure, Mao Zedong, later developments, but we can find that they have always tried to blend tradition with demands of modernity, not sacrificing one on the other. And perhaps the greatest challenge they will face in the coming years relates to this sensitive relationship. Fourth dimension, in my view, relates to the innovative and promising experiment they have been making by first the popular revolution, deriving inspiration from Marxist communist ideology, then transforming it from within, and the conflict between China and Russia, not merely geostrategic, but having an ideological dimension, and now moving towards a liberal economy and society without delinking both from their tradition as well as the public sector, command economy and society that was built. It's a very tenuous balance. It's a very challenging situation. And as an observer of the China scene, I see that many strains are appearing. Yet they have tried to make a balance between discipline and freedom, individual and society, private sector and public sector, the soft power and hard power. This is a very important dimension. That brings to the next important area, and that is China has tried, particularly in the last 4 decades, the new model of development, both internal and global, which is based on 2 key ideas: primacy of economy and instrumentality of peace. In the capitalist system, we find that imperialism, colonial exploitation of resources of others and huge transfer of the resources, that lies at the root of their goals. And even today, if you eliminate the war factor, capitalist economy will collapse. Yet the Chinese model, we find that economy and peace going together. This is a very innovative approach. Another aspect that attracts my attention is a new balance between security and economy. Security has not been emphasized at the cost of economy or welfare. Yet security has not been neglected. So that balance is also very important. So from that viewpoint, I think these are the major characteristics in my view of the Chinese model, and we and others have a lot to learn from that. Having said so, let me also, in all honesty, and as a friend of China, reflect on some of the challenges we face. The element of freedom and rights that is gradually having greater importance globally as well as within China is bound to have its serious implications. So far we have tried to have a blend between freedom and discipline. China's are a disciplined people. But the new developments that are taking place because of globalization, because of the social media, because of internet, because of education, because of exposure, I think you have to be very careful to face this challenge and maintain your uniqueness and the model which you have built during the last 60 years.